we can look back at a period in the 90s, in the early 90s in particular, where this vacuum existed, where mistakes, deep mistakes were made that we have subsequently paid the price for in terms of the United States and others having turned their back on events in Afghanistan after the Soviets had been defeated. Are you concerned that the lessons we didn't learn the first time may still be unlearned this time around?
I am. I'm deeply concerned. I think that the invasion and subsequent performance in Afghanistan since 2001 is in many ways terribly managed. We did not have sufficient military resources in the country to do what we were saying we were going to do. We had far from the financial resources. We were investing millions when we needed to be investing billions, frankly. And we didn't have political attention to what was happening in Afghanistan, largely because of Iraq. And so I think that people are right to be critical of the performance and right to question what has happened since 2001 in Afghanistan. But at the same time, if the alternative is to do more in Afghanistan and to do better what we've been failing at so far, or to draw back from Afghanistan, I think that the clear answer has to be to do more and to get it right. And that's not because it's suddenly going to be easy under a new administration, but because we know what the alternative is in Afghanistan. We've seen this movie before. In the 1990s, when we abandoned Afghanistan, when it became chaotic, and when we were not able to control the countryside, it was taken over by forces that gave safe haven to al-Qaeda. And I personally am confident that if we were to withdraw from Afghanistan, the current government would likely collapse, and at least part of the country would again become an unfettered safe haven for al-Qaeda. And I don't think that's something that we can afford. We're facing that now in Pakistan. These guys went to Pakistan, they laid low for a few years, and then they started to reorganize and regroup. And they're able to conduct operations from Pakistan. We look at the subway bombings, for instance, in London, amongst others, and many of the recent incidents have been planned from the territory of Pakistan. And so it'll be in Pakistan or it'll be in Afghanistan unless we deal with the problem in Pakistan and Afghanistan in a more comprehensive way. And ultimately, that's the very difficult and long-term challenge of building credible states with security forces and competent and legitimate government. And that's not something that can be done shortly. I think it's critical for people to remember when you look at Japan, when you look at Germany, when you look at Korea, when you look at the Philippines, all places that were fundamental to U.S. national security interests. And we spent decades upon decades in those countries with military forces, not in a combat role, but with military forces, building their police, building their armies, helping them with assistance, and helping them as their political system gradually developed. And I think that we have to make the same sort of commitment to that part of the world because it's in our deep national security interests, as unfortunately 9/11 made all too clear.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Alex Thier of the U.S. Institute of Peace. On behalf of the National September 11th Memorial Museum, I'm Clifford Shannon.